Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this final session. And we know that we are about more than an hour behind schedule. We have 5 panelists, 40 minutes, and my major task of moderation is to time management. So without much of introductory remarks, I would like to only mention that the theme of this session is a rather complex one: creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. It almost combines 3 different creativity and innovation and entrepreneurship. So what I actually would be interested in my panelists, very eminent group of panelists who themselves have excelled in what they've been doing, to focus on: does our present system of technical education in the country foster creativity, foster innovation, or is structured teaching learning process is antithetic of the creativity and innovation? It actually dampens the spirit of creativity. Does our existing examination system of structured questions, straight single answers, does it dampen the spirit of creativity and innovation, or it fosters creativity? These are the issues that we need to address. The kind of entrepreneurship, the spirit of entrepreneurship, does it come through learning alone, or there are people who have the born DNAs in them to be the budding entrepreneurs, and they just need to be doing hand-holding and nurturing the talent, or do we need to? Then do we need to address, can the entire class be groomed to be entrepreneur, or only a portion of a graduating batch? Maybe you'd like to put a number that, for example, when a graduating batch, maybe 15 to 20% of them might have the basic spirit of being an entrepreneur, and they need to be nurtured differently. And if that be the case, what's the kind of component of separate nurturing for their entrepreneurial skills we need to address? Should they begin right after graduation, start their startup, or should they get into this business after having some experience in working somewhere else? Do you have to be really brilliant to be an entrepreneur? Because many times one of the most successful entrepreneurs have been the college dropouts. Therefore, maybe that the capacity to fail and fail happily, which these dropouts have been doing, is a strength for being an entrepreneur. Or therefore, maybe that people who are unable to take risk cannot perhaps become a very good entrepreneur. These are some of the issues that we need to address, and therefore, maybe I'll request our panelists to address some aspect of these issues, the way that they perceive, or share their experiences in their own institutions in how they have addressed these issues. The concept of tinkering lab, crazy ideas lab, are some of the ideas. Project-based learning, problem-oriented learning, problem-oriented examinations, open book examinations are some of the issues which indeed are more positively correlated with entrepreneurship and creativity and innovation, rather than one-size-fits-in-all type of examination and teaching learning process. So I believe that a very eminent group of panelists that we have would be able to address some aspect of these issues that I flagged in the beginning. Since time is short and I wish to conform to the time, I will request the panelists to kindly convey whatever their best thoughts they have within 5 minutes, so that we can give almost equal weightage to the various points of views, and then we can have the session open for discussion. With these observations, I first request Madam Aruna Katara, who is the President of the Hope Foundation and Research Center, to kindly share her thoughts on the issue.
Thank you, sir. It's a great honor and privilege to be on this dais with eminent persons, especially sir. I'm honored. Thank you, Business World. So to start with, what we have today is creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship for excellence in engineering. A thought comes to me as what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, that you have to dream before your dreams can come true, which is correct. So are we teaching our students, are we ourselves daring to dream? Let us first break down this theme more and look at it more analytically. There are 4 important aspects in the theme. The first is creativity. Creativity is the ability to come out with original ideas or to create something using pure imagination. We have innovation, which means a new method or an idea or a product. We have entrepreneurship. So entrepreneur comes from the French word entreprendre, which means to undertake. So entrepreneurs are the one who undertake or who manage. Now put them all together, and the most important aspect of the theme is engineering today. So we have to learn to apply creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship for the excellence of engineering. This implies that original engineering ideas or products to be developed using creativity and a market value using innovation. This is possible for an entrepreneur to develop, interpret, and market value for an idea or a product. Without going much into detail, I would like to just say a few more observations that I have. We need imagination, we need creativity, we need innovative and entrepreneurial engineers to produce products which have a commercial value. We need huge investments for fundamental research. For example, a CAT scan machine or an MRI machine. But to an engineer and generate a product for specific application, the investment can be much lower. And simple examples are the telephones, smartphones that we are using today. Technology has changed over the years. In fact, technology is moving faster than anything ever has moved from the 1950s, where only electronics was the growing start of technology. Now we talk about and discuss artificial intelligence, automation. For our engineers to be innovative, they have to learn into the fundamentals of engineering to be able to take this to the next step. The next decade is going to be more automated, and we need more customized products as the society becomes more and more technology-based. So what are the domains or industries where our opportunities are there to innovate and create product and service? We have 4 major categories, which I think we can list out as virtual reality, robotics, 3D printing, and automation. The entire entrepreneur has to focus on smart sensors, actuators, IoT, cloud computing, predictive algorithms, and so on. So India in the last 30 years has achieved in the IT and IT-enabled services, ITES, since opening of the economy in 1991. But now time has come to give focus on product-based innovation than just on services. We are a country of 130 crore population. We have a great history. We have been world leaders in exporting products like temple architecture, yoga, medicine, spirituality, mathematics, iron technology, astronomy, and more. But in all these years, we have lost something, and that is we have always been importing things which we follow till date. Every equipment, every gadget, every technology we import, and we don't create it here in our own country. We have achieved a lot of services, but not in products. We occupy 2.4% of the total world area, and we have a 17% population of this. So we have, as I said, 130 crore brains and billions to create an idea. Are we actually delivering? The market is open for imaginative engineers to pick any idea they deem fit and execute the same. We have limited ourselves to users, traders, and innovators who are majority and neglected creators who form the cream of the society. So let us not, without going further into what an entrepreneur is and what are the skills and the learnings an entrepreneur should have versus a businessman, let me just quickly sum up with India needs entrepreneurs. Currently, most of our entrepreneurs are focused on services, and we need to change to create more entrepreneurs in product and service-based industry. I will quickly end here by just giving a very personal example. I have the privilege of being the daughter of Mr. Prahlad P. Chhabria, the founder chairman of Finolex and the founder president of Hope Foundation. He was a young boy, age of 13, who moved from Pakistan to India before partition. And when he came to Pune, he spent his time mopping the floor, filling water and menial labor work. It is his entrepreneurial spirit, his never give up, his dare to dream, his risk-taking ability. This is the finest example that I've had in my life. And I know for a fact that it is just up here and in the heart that can make an entrepreneur. So if there is a passion, there is a way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Katara, for a very, very insightful observations. I'll now request Dr. Rihan Khan Suri. He looks after the training and placement at Jamia Millia Islamia. Right at the time of the moment a student reaches final year, he has to enroll for training and placement. But the entrepreneuring, budding entrepreneurs are the one who opt out of that scheme. So I would like him to address, should you identify such people right from first year itself and train them differently so that they succeed in becoming outstanding entrepreneurs the moment they are ready for the job market? Or you only filter them out towards the end in the final year? And how do you look at these issues? And to what extent your alumni in Jamia Millia have taken up to the entrepreneurship? Maybe.
Thank you. First of all, I thank Business World for giving me this opportunity to be part of this panel who is moderated by Professor Premwat. Thank you very much. It's lovely audience. I'm seeing most of them are chatting themselves, so it's fine. No issues, it's like a class. We generally observe and experience. So this is the basically problem of our classrooms also, because when you don't talk about them, when you don't talk for them, they don't listen. So generally, when Professor Saab asked me few direct questions, I'll also ask direct answers within 5 minutes. First, we just look at our system. If you just look at our educational system, I'm also an engineer. I studied way back around 26 years ago, 27 years ago. And I did not really find anything missing in the system till date. As we are evolving the system, we are introducing many things during last 30 years. If you just look at one thing, as sir asked, okay, if you just look at the kind of opportunity you are getting during the engineering education, yes, you are getting the opportunities. But what is missing out in our college campuses, and that is basically the culture. Culture of entrepreneurship, culture of creativity, culture of innovation, that is missing. The moment you will find that culture anywhere in any campus across the world or across the India, you will find more entrepreneurs, more innovators there. So this is one thing. We recently, even my university is 98 years old, and our engineering college is 32 years old. Our college is also recently started. Recently means just 3 years ago, we started our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So now, the moment you have the Center for Innovation and you are just formalizing, you are just giving an opportunity to people, those are really thinking of doing something. I'm also associated with our Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So what we are doing basically, we are just launching some schemes, like some competitions, like Innovate for a Cause. As last panel was for the sustainable development, we are also talking about, okay, you just innovate something for the society. So we are giving the opportunity to the students. So that is again very important, and same as with many other campuses, whether it's IITs, NITs, or IIMs, or some private colleges also, they are giving the opportunities. So that is really important. If you just look at the innovation, there are many grassroots innovators, you might have heard. If you just look at the grassroots innovation, what is grassroots innovation? They are not engineers, but they are doing great work. You just look at them. They have really brought many solutions for the problems of this society. Whether they are engineering solutions also, they are general solutions also. So now you just look at one thing. Oh, if necessity is there, then you will get some solution. If you are really throwing some problems in front of your students or the engineering education, if you are just bringing in some problems and you are just saying, okay, each course has to solve this problem, there are many ways to solve the problem, then you will find really more innovation and more creativity. So you have to develop some culture of creativity in your campus. You have to give some freedom to them. As you know, in each and every engineering college, there is some internal assessments. What is for that? It's not for theoretical marks. It is more on the assessment of your student when you are assessing and giving the marks. So you can also put some parameters, these kind of things. Oh, how creative my student is, how innovative my student is. So these are the things when we really inculcate in our students, we really develop the culture in our campus, then I feel really lot many innovators and creative people in terms of entrepreneurs will come. Second question he asked, yes, entrepreneurs are born or you can make them. In my personal view, I also attended one entrepreneurship development workshop by National Small Industries Corporation. That was a EDP, Entrepreneurship Development Program, for 2 days. Believe me, that really made me to become an entrepreneur. Because of some reasons, I could not really succeed in that line, but that fired me. So each and every person is carrying some enterprise in them. But you have to just kindle that. You have to just fire them up. If you are really giving them that kind of development programs, if you are really giving some kind of culture to them, because many people are just not doing because of the financial constraints, because of something. One thing is missing again, I would like to just put my emphasis on that and I'll close this talk. That is the confidence. You just look at the confidence level of our people. You just forget about IIT or some top institutes. You just go to a private engineering college. The moment the person who is going to the college campus, he'll just ask first question, oh, what is the placement here? Oh, what is the salary structure? So the moment somebody is coming with that mindset, of course, he'll become another employee. So if you are really giving that confidence, oh, if you will become entrepreneur, you will really get success. And another, he said, dropouts, entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, my dear friends, there are more percentage who are formally qualified entrepreneurs. So it's not simply that one or two examples, of course, some examples are there, but it's not that. I just give you one example of an entrepreneur from Jamia Millia. Just one, there are many. That is the Micromax phones. He is Mr. Vikas Jain and the Sumit Kumar, both are 96 BTech Mechanical Engineering graduate from Jamia Millia. There are many. So this is one. When you are just looking at qualified graduates, there are many, and there are many opportunities in India. There are many schemes, but we have to just give them an idea, and we have to motivate them. We have to just give that assurance of which can bring the confidence among them, especially in the people those are studying in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. They are just lacking the confidence to become a great entrepreneur. And I thank all of you for the patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khan. Well, friends, now we have Professor N.P. Pardee he's Dean Academic Affairs from IIT Roorkee. Graduates and the faculty who may be extremely good in inventions, but are they innovators and entrepreneurs as well? Because sometimes you may be an outstanding inventor, but may not be a very good entrepreneur. And his own experience in what IIT Roorkee is doing. At the same time, innovation requires a very strong IPR regime. Unfortunately, in this country, we have not created a very strong IPR regime. And I've often been saying that this designation of controller of patents must be done away with. The controller means reduce the number. Facilitator of patents should be actually the right, so that they know the right role. So what is it that IIT Roorkee is doing on issues of this kind?
I'm happy to be on dais with him because he happened to be my director when I was assistant professor at IIT Roorkee. So anyway, so it's a wonderful panelist as well as audience. Perhaps my main idea here to, create a bridge between entrepreneurship, incubation centers, and academic process of any institution. Now, looking at what an engineering graduate is all about. At the end of the day, they look for a wonderful job, try to understand few practical constraints that undergo within the mind of the graduate. He or she is very curious about a wonderful job and with high salaries, and they do not mind changing branch from mechanical to computer science and physics to electrical. Anyway, if job is wonderful, So they are mentally not very clear what need to be done after their graduate program. So step number one, someone need to mentor. Today, all the wonderful entrepreneurship that we find within the campus were certainly creative. I'm very sure during the first year of their career, they might have decided to take a path which is entertaining, exciting, and they want and they do die with this ambitious plan. So, as you know, in all campuses, especially in IITs, few graduates do get offered with, more than 1.5 crore salary tag, which is slightly extraordinary. And before I become Dean Academic, 1st April 2017, I have spent almost more than 4 years in the training placement office of IIT Roorkee, and we were very successful in almost top 3 in the country having the placement scenario. Now, always I'm very curious, being an academician, I was a bit hesitant to take up this TNP job, but my director at that time told me that because you are already a professor, don't worry about your academic now. You please help us in bringing more companies to the campus. I wonderfully, very politely accepted. But I was very keen to talk to my graduates. What is that special quality my graduate student do carry to get a job worth more than 1.5 crores? That is the one question that comes to my mind. So once actually I talked to 2 computer science graduates, very humble background, and they told me that, sir, actually we wanted to be entrepreneur from the first year itself. All right? So now we could see the match. Means before they go for placement, they were carrying some product with them, which is worth, millions or $1 million, okay? So now it is the company to capture those good brains that we are not able to identify. For an example, if they would not have been offered with a job of such a huge salary, I might have treated them a normal graduate. That means we professors normally lack ideas in identifying good graduate who can be the future entrepreneurs of this country. Because certainly we are not managerial background, okay? But one thing I have found, that there is no age bar for one become entrepreneur. In IIT Roorkee campus, currently we have 15 teams working very seriously towards entrepreneurship. We have facilitated all kind of, quick copyright process, space for them. All things are inbuilt in the campus where 15 teams have occupied those space to become entrepreneur. But before 5 years, before 2012 and 13, maximum there are 5 to 7 graduates who are ready to give up their job and wish to work in industry or maybe idea thought process. So it is basically the campus must encourage all the graduates to take up some risk, and if they are not successful, if you allow them to come for the placement process again, they are ready to take up some risk. All right? So it's my request for all the campus to encourage their graduate to take up entrepreneurship experience and also provide a backup, because they're very young graduates, okay? If you tell them, because all the time there is a question in mind, if I'm not successful, what will happen to my future? What my parents will think about me? What the society will think about me, okay? So we have been perhaps brought up in a way where we only want to have success, but we are not ready to accept the failures. All right, that is, even I'm also responsible for that. I always allow my kids to do something which is safer, okay? But I do not allow them to play a good game which has bit of risk. All right, so I perhaps prefer him to be at home and play chess instead of going to a playground on a rainy season to play soccer, because I feel that he may break his leg. So from the day one itself, from the childhood itself, we have been trained not to take any risk. And if you do not take risk, the success rate is certainly minimum. So 2 important points. We have to train our kids at any level, maybe graduate level or maybe at school or at home, to take risk in their life to become successful, number 1. And number 2, there is no age. We found there are 4 professors of IIT Roorkee started a wonderful initiative towards incubation as well as innovation partnership. and they are now in a process of earning millions, okay, in next 2-3 years' time. So their laboratory idea they have taken back to market and they've become successful. One very important thing for last 22 years, I mean, I do something, I'm very sure that that may have some bit of innovation because of my graduate students, those who work in the lab. But the very unfortunate part, we do not train them how this concept can be marketed or converted into a product. Now, I will tell you, actually, what is happening now. I do have facility of, let's say, 15 to 20 crores of devices, which is available in my laboratory, and they do wonderful research to validate or come out with some innovation or extraordinary ideas, firing ideas. But now, can you carry those equipments to the field to experiment your idea, or the lab test bed, can it directly be taken to the market? No, no. So there is a process between lab test bed to a product level. So the conversion of the lab test bed idea to the product is something missing. Even I perhaps do not know, to be very honest. So we need some industry collaboration, manufacturing company collaboration with the institution where the ideas belongs to student and professors and lab community can be translated into a product level so that the incubation process, the innovation process can be made more successful. But I'm very confident our graduates across the country are very smart. Given an opportunity, they can crack any level of difficulties, and it is we that take the responsibility for not making them success, and we have to really work hard to make them success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Padhi, for very profound observations. Actually, it's known that a typical Indian, as an individual, is the most creative, innovative person. And a simple test of that is make any complex role, he'll find a loophole if he was to personally benefit out of it, which would mean that we have not exploited this intrinsic, creative, innovative capability of our people, because as individuals, we're extremely creative, but as an organization, we are least creative. That means somewhere we have killed creativity by processes, systems, and standard operating procedures that we so proudly say that we follow that SOPs. Now we have on the other side, Mr. Anurag Bansal, Senior Vice President, Career Launches, who can actually, I presume he is an entrepreneur. And do you launch career for entrepreneurs as well? So please take your 5 minutes.
Hello. So yeah, in a way, I am also an entrepreneur because I had a business unit of CL called CL Media. I have been an engineer, mechanical engineer myself. So I keep on hearing a lot of things about engineers, and it actually hurts. So I'm hearing from morning, 83% engineers are not employable. Civil engineer getting job in Wipro. That is a benchmark of not unemployability and all that stuff. Let me tell you something, being an engineer, and I will just harp on whatever points sir has said. I will give you a different perspective, how we are creative when we are engineers. We used to know what is the problem in labs. All of us has done labs. We used to know what is the problem, and we used to know what is the answer should be. And we already created every solution. So we are very creative. So engineers are very creative. Okay, we can create solutions if we know the problem and we can identify the solution. All of us know rank 1 in IIT JEE will never join civil engineering. How many of top 100 rankers will join civil engineering? None. Okay, so many of the civil engineers, students of civil engineers today choose civil engineering not by choice, but because there was no choice. Okay, and according to me, if a civil engineer joins Wipro and do well in Wipro along with a computer engineer, then there is nobody as employable as that civil engineer. That is the truth which we fail to understand. Okay. Second, innovation. What is innovation? What is innovation? We today feel artificial intelligence is innovation. Is it? Yes, it is an innovation. But innovation requires in how to conserve water. Irony, I will again give you civil engineering example. Today, the biggest problem which every company or every civil engineering company or bank, even finance companies are trying to solve is how to reduce cost in housing infrastructure. Unfortunately, they are not finding people for that because instead of our civil engineering students focusing on that, all of us are focusing on artificial intelligence. Perspective. So we have to change our perspective. Innovations are there. Everybody innovate. When we were in college, everybody has innovated. The only problem is we do not nurture those innovations. Whenever some student will come up with some idea to their professor or teacher. So I will tell you one example. Somebody came. Why we take medicine from tablets? Why can't it be from vegetables? You know what answer he got? You are stupid. That is the problem. We don't nurture innovation. Innovation is there. And the day we will start nurturing innovation, we start capturing innovation. So many innovations happen in our colleges, our daily life. Yes, you go to any village, there are so many innovations happening. The problem is not innovation is not happening. The problem is we are not capturing the innovation, which is happening all around us. And third, entrepreneurship. It is a mistake that we feel that entrepreneurship means business. Today, even in your job, the first thing, like you very rightly said the example of 1.5 crore salary, every company will look whether you have that entrepreneurship ability. Okay, that is one very big aspect of a job. So it is not business. Even in job, it is required. So the thing is, we as educators, as institutes, we have to change our perspective. Students are capable of doing anything. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we have Dr. Urvashi Makkar. She is the Director General of GL Bajaj Institute of Management and Research, Greater Noida. A very outstanding leader in her own right, an institution builder. I'd like to know from her about the initiative that her institution has taken in nurturing this part, which actually the theme of this session is in terms of entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity, incubation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be part of a panel in which Professor Premrat is the moderator. I'm sure that has been the biggest motivation for me to be on this chair. And same goes with all the members who are sitting over here, the elite panelists. Before I proceed further to the exact agenda of my discussion, the 5 minutes which have been given to me, the timer is in front of me, of course. It's ticking away. Being the last panelist is always a challenge. So I would like to just pinpoint one aspect which just a minute ago Dr. Padhi has highlighted, that in fact his optimistic approach about the capability of the engineers all across the country. I would say that might be he has certain skewed thoughts and some bias, because being part from the IIT Roorkee, he has that optimistic picture about all the engineers pan-India. Might be he has not visited the interiors of UP, the engineering colleges which are affiliated to the UPTU, UP Technical University. And of course, the same goes true with the suburb areas in the different states of our country. So I think if we'll not realize what exactly is the problem and we'll keep on denying the problem, we'll never reach out to the solutions. So first of all, very important aspect is that we need to accept that there are certain issues which are needed to be taken care of in terms of the engineering education or even in the management education. And when we have accepted that, yes, there are certain problem areas, there are certain issues which needs to be taken care of, then we'll reach out to the solutions. And if per se, say for example, just now Dr. Padhi has said that we really need to inculcate the risk-taking capability among us, the engineers. And in the beginning, Dr. Premrat highlighted that few dropouts have been more successful than even the degree holders. Of course, it goes wonderfully well when it comes on preaching to the students, but when it comes to yourself, it becomes very difficult to implement. Say per se that my elder son is alumnus of IIT Delhi, currently is working in Bangalore with Goldman Sachs. And the elder one is studying in BITS Pilani. So as a parent perspective, I have observed that how much is the difference in the culture of these two elite institutions in terms of the creativity and innovation. At IIT Delhi, of course, as Professor Premvrat highlighted, SOPs, that has been the guiding principle. And I didn't see that the creativity was nurtured or entrepreneurial spirit was inculcated amongst those students, or might be my son would not have taken up that aspect during his studies over there at IIT Delhi. But when I look into the culture of BITS Pilani and visit sometimes as a parent, I used to feel literally pleasantly surprised that there are 88 clubs in the campus driven solely by the students, and the students starting from the first year have started their startups and have highlighted on their websites, which they have created in the very first year, the head office of their startup as the hostel room number. And the same has been done by my son in the second year also. He's currently in the third year. In the first year, on the 11th day of his joining BITS Pilani, he was under the mentorship of one of the senior who was in the third year and was running a startup successfully. And he was paid the stipend of 10,000 per month. That was the scenario which we had witnessed in BITS Pilani. And of course, I'm sure that's a scenario which really needed in most of the institutions. But when we come to the thought of taking the risk taking by the students, and of course, at the thought of dropouts even, I think this aspect also has been unnecessarily glamorized. I'm sorry if anyone has been offended with this thought, but that is the truth. If today my son in the third year in BITS Pilani will tell to me that I want to drop out, because I know that I will be wasting my 2 further years and I can do better in a startup, and I am so sure about my business proposal, what would be my thought as a mother? I'm sure I'll never encourage him to drop out, because I know that the degree can become an asset with him, and the learning which he'll get in the campus that cannot be substituted by the self-learning. So I think as a part of the academic fraternity, we have to be really realistic. Sometimes these thoughts which we just throw in the conferences, seminars, workshops, panel discussions to the students, that you can be successful without a degree. Sometimes that thought can be fatal, and that is very clearly visible from the number of failure cases in the entrepreneurial startups in our country. Just look at the success rate and the failure rates. And this disillusionment that you can say the ratio of one successful entrepreneurial startup and how many have been the failure cases behind that, that is startlingly high in our country. So obviously this caution is needed when we tell to our youngsters that how they have to plunge into the entrepreneurship. In fact, I think the basic difference between these two terms needs to be understood by the students right in the beginning, that whether they want to be entrepreneur or they want to inculcate entrepreneurial spirit. And I'm very sure the students who are having that entrepreneurial spirit, that spark, they always do best in the market, in the life, of course, and in their professional domain. So obviously the creativity innovation has to be harnessed within the campuses, but not by the classroom teaching only. We have to sometimes go for the pedagogical innovations like the inverted classroom sessions, the flipped classroom sessions. That of course is the, we can say the need of the hour. There are so many things which can be discussed, but because the time is very less, I would